Okay, we're gonna stay on the topic of the system development charge. Linda's got a couple more questions, so there you go.
Randy, at the last meeting, there were a lot of construction people there, contractors, developers, and they had a lot of concerns. But one of the items that was discussed, at least in a primary way, but not in detail, was the idea that perhaps there is a way for developers to build some of the infrastructure that is needed. For instance, what if a construction company that has the experience doing this does a water tank? Some companies can. The Pulte company probably could build a water tank, and that could be part of their system development charge because they have offset that with their own project, that they may not have to pay as high wages or maybe have some other means of saving money on that project that a government agency does not have. What do you think about that idea put in the mix with the rising SDC charges?
Because a lot of, and I just want to caveat again for the for our readers to understand that, you know, any project over $100,000 that the water district does, because it is a government public entity, the costs automatically go up 35% because of the prevailing wage law.
Correct.
In Nevada. And so by having a private company who doesn't have to pay that prevailing wage necessarily, or it doesn't have to pay it by law, they could actually build something along the lines of what Linda was saying, much cheaper than the water district could. So speak to that if you would.
Okay, so I was at the same meeting. I'm not sure why we don't do that. You know, as we're in that same meeting, I believe Nephi, president of the board, it mentioned a couple of times, and it probably wasn't on Nephi, there's probably a couple others. Well, we have to put it on the agenda, and we have to talk about it, and then we got to talk about it some more, and then we got to vote on it. I mean, you're a couple of months before you can do anything legally, because to get traction and get moving. So some of those contractors, you know, pose the idea of what if we can build some of the infrastructure within our own subdivision or whatever to offset A, B, and C. After that meeting, I end up staying in the parking lot a little bit and talking to one of the, I guess you call it an administrator for Pulte. And we talked for about 45 minutes. And I says, hey, just hear me out. Why are we not entertaining or having the discussion of an outside source outside the water district come in and drill a well, build a tank? Let's just say Pulte is going to add 2,000 new homes, whatever their build out is. I said, why don't we sit down and say, okay, look, these are the water district's requirements, whether it's parts, pumps, whatever the case may be. Stay in conjunction of what they already have, so you're not changing a bunch of stuff. At the same time, say Pulte or NRC or whatever contractor may have at their disposal something that they can go in and put a tank in, drill a well, whatever the case may be. So the guy I was talking to for Pulte says, absolutely. He says, we've done that at other places as well. I says, if we could come to an agreement, whether it's legally binding and all this kind of stuff, you have to kind of work through the red tape, so to speak. I said, you can get it done faster. You have contractors you already use, they already know you, and it's going to save you a ton of money in labor because of the prevailing wage. And so my whole question for him is, why are we at least entertaining this question? It's better for the community, it's quicker, and it potentially could save, say, $1 million in labor, whatever the project may be. I'm all for that, but I think it has to fit the water district requirements, as well as whoever the contractor, they have to be coinciding with each other to make sure it's the best product, the quickest product, and most viable product for not just their situation, but the water district as a whole. We talked about if they had to build out 2,000 homes, this system, we could build it to match out 3,000 homes. So these impact fees, they could get a credit on that for whatever this tank and pump station would cost, credit them back the impact fees, and then the additional 1,000 homes, let's just say impact fees for those, that would go back to the water district. The water district would then pay that contractor for that existing future 1,000 homes. It would offset.
Okay.
To me, absolutely. Why are we not having that discussion already? If nothing else, if it works, then great. If it doesn't, then that's okay too. But put it on the table. Because I think you can speed up the process. I think you can potentially have just as good or better than a well system, tank system, and you're gonna save a ton of money. So absolutely I'm for that. I mean, let's get the discussion rolling. Let's get going on it. I mean, time is of the essence as far as I see. They're building farther, they're going more, the infrastructure needs to get put in place quickly. I don't think this is something we need to just kind of hang on to and have, you know, another year's worth of board meetings to try to figure it out. Let's get going, you know? I know it takes time,
Yeah.
time, but where's that discussion at? Let's go.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, at least it's bringing something new to the table.
Sometimes you gotta think out of the box a little bit. It doesn't always work, but at least you kind of have to go and search for it. And I think that's all that anybody would ask for.
But I think we have to make it clear, though, that any water that's pulled out of the ground belongs to the water district.
Well, I think when any kind of project like that happens, it's a turnkey investment.
Yeah.
Whatever is attributed to that project would absolutely be 100% to the water district, with whatever negotiated impact fees or whatever. Absolutely nothing retained to the contractor, all retained to the water
Yeah.
district.
Right.
Buildings, pumps, you know, right of ways, whatever the case may be, all that would go back to the water district. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.